think I might have murdered somebody last night. Reddit. I'm in a real fucked up situation. My fingers are trembling so badly that it's taking me forever to type out a single coherent sentence. So I need you to bear with me for a little bit. What I'm about to tell you is unfortunately a very, very real scenario I have fallen into. And I know many of you, if not the vast majority, will think I'm pulling this story out of my ass. And I really do not blame you. But for the few who are willing to hear me out, I need you to know that this is an extremely serious matter that I have found myself involved in. I guess I should provide some quick information about myself before I thrust you into this nightmare. Obviously, I will not disclose my personal information on this forum to protect myself, but I've decided I'll go by the name of Alan Thompson for the sake of convenience and continuity. Plus, I really like the name Alan. Any other name I use for anyone else I mention will not be a false name as well. I made a horrifying discovery when I woke up this morning. It was about 4 a.m. A little bit later than I generally prefer to wake up. I own a coffee shop, and it takes me a really long time to prepare myself both physically and mentally in the mornings. So I like to get up early, even if it means sacrificing an extra hour and a half hour of sleep. Even if it means sacrificing an extra half an hour of sleep. I sat there for a minute with my legs dangling off the side of my bed, trying to remember the dream I had last night. Something that y'all know. Something that y'all know. Something that y'all should. Something that you all should know is that I take my dreams very, very seriously. Ever since I was a kid, I have felt as though there was something important to take away from them. Like they were trying to tell me something about myself, which I know sounds stupid and painfully obvious, but my dreams are very different. I'm a sleepwalker. When I do dream, it generally means I did a little sleepwalking, but it's hard to tell where I went without remembering where I was in my dream. I remember when I was a teenager, I dreamed I had walked all the way up a hill in my backyard to a tire swing at sunset, my hand in the palm of the most beautiful girl I'd ever seen. When I awoke, I was buck-ass naked, face down, in the mulchy patch of dirt below the tire. I remember when I was even younger, dreaming I was a professional baseball player at the mound and slamming a home run and sending the hometown crowd wild before waking up with a crick in my neck, laying across the away team's bench on the practice field down the block. As I got older, the sleepwalking slowed down. Either I wouldn't sleepwalk at all, or I'd move from the couch downstairs to my bedroom without realizing. Little things like that. However, I went to sleep upstairs and awoke in the bed I slept in this time, yet I was absolutely certain I sleepwalked. I felt the weird tingling in my legs and the heavy feeling in my arms, the sensation similar to attaching weights to your ankles before a jog. I knew I sleepwalked last night, so here I am, squeezing my head between my hands, sifting through those vague thoughts, trying to figure out what the hell I dreamed about. Bits and pieces slowly came back and shaped together a decent idea of what was going on through my head. I remember getting out of bed and standing at the top of the stairs. I stood at the precipice, looking down my toes over the top. The house glowed with a deep blue, misty hue, akin to that of your generic dreamscape. I felt a presence below me. I slowly moved down the stairs and turned towards my kitchen. I didn't move more than a step. I saw somebody ahead of me, lying motionlessly on the tile. I stared for a minute. No movement whatsoever. I slowly walked into the kitchen and grabbed a knife off the counter and pulled an apple out of the refrigerator. I nonchalantly stepped over the heap of a person that sat in front of me and sat down at my kitchen table to cut the apple. Midway through, I heard a blood-curdling scream. I quickly turned my head and found the body was gone, and my basement door, which sits adjacent to my kitchen's, was wide open. I sprinted up the stairs and slammed the door behind me. I don't remember anything following that. This didn't shake me so much. I've had nightmares before, which usually resulted in me running throughout the house screaming for a bit, waking my family before returning to my bed. The only thing I had to worry about, I told myself, is stepping on something. I knocked. I may have knocked off of a shelf or table in my nocturnal episode. I got up, showered, brushed my teeth, and went downstairs to make my breakfast. When I got into the kitchen, I went straight to the cabinet to get a glass to pour myself some water. I also threw a piece of toast in the toaster to have something to munch on. My head was pulsing for whatever reason, and so I turned to grab some ibuprofen from the medicine cabinet above my kitchen table. That's when I saw the apple sitting there. 3 slices and a knife sitting next to it, coated in blood. My heart sank. I looked over at the basement door, wide open. I grabbed the knife off the table and ran down the stairs before flipping on a light. I collapsed when I saw the body of a young woman covered in blood and bruises, laying face down on the couch. I felt like vomiting. There were so many stab wounds. Her face was angled towards me. Her right eye completely gazed over and blackened. Her right cheek sliced open all the way up to her earlobe. Patches of hair had either been ripped or cut from her scalp and lay in chunks of blood-stained carpet below the couch. Her legs had long gashes and deep puncture wounds. I couldn't feel my arms or legs. I gathered myself and dragged my pathetic frame to the window, looking out at the backyard. My yard is open, with hoses sharing the plot behind me. So they would have been able to see or hear me murder this poor woman if she had screamed the way I remembered it. No one was outside. No police cars or abnormalities to be seen. Other than the trail of mud leading to my back window. It had rained that night before, and whoever this woman was, I had surely dragged her through a storm and into my home. And this trail was the only witness I saw to take care of. Without skipping a beat, I sprinted out to the backyard and began kicking up the grass that had been trampled in my unconscious kidnapping. As I followed along the trail, I realized that it led from the back porch of one of my neighbors. I realized that it led from the back porch of one of my neighbors' houses, one of my neighbors' homes. My stomach dropped as I realized the back door of Trudy Harrison's home was ajar at the end of my trail. I felt the tears fill my eyes and stood there full of so much shame, regret, and confusion. I couldn't believe that the gruesome product of my evil that was waiting for me back home was the body of a woman whose company I enjoyed very much. Trudy was a young, sweet single mother around my age. She introduced me to the neighborhood when I moved into my house 3 years ago, fresh out of school. She had me over for supper over the summer several times. We both loved to write in our own free time and talked much about our own interests and works. She was one of the few friends in the neighborhood I made time for, and she was certainly the only one who made time for me. None of this made any sense to me at all. I've never in my life had such a thought about anybody. I certainly couldn't even fathom doing anything so shockingly violent and brutal to anyone on this earth. I felt my knees get weak and my throat swell. I couldn't let the world know I killed such an innocent woman in such a horrible way. I ran back to my house and pulled on some latex gloves. I sprinted back to Trudy's house, looking side to side, praying to whatever the hell exists that no one would see me. As I slid the back door shut, I ran back inside and grabbed a trash bag, some bleach, a scrub brush for my toilet, and a shovel. I sat on the floor of my basement trying to figure out what I was going to do about this horrifying mess that sat just waiting to be discovered. I didn't want to go under for this. This wasn't fair to me. I still don't know if it was my fault or not. I decided to bury her. My mind began to race. Where the fuck do I go? Where the fuck can I put a body without getting caught by somebody? I thought maybe I could drop her off the bridge by the backwoods, but realized that people hunt around there and it's too risky. Maybe I should drop her in the dumpster behind Joe's store on Harper Street. Shit, there's security cameras back there. I couldn't think of anything until it finally clicked. This is going to be tough to explain, so bear with me, please. My basement has a closet where a bunch of pipes and stuff are. I haven't had to go there since I moved in. Aside from where there was a family of raccoons bumming near the water heater, in the back of the closet there's a bunch of wood panels making up the wall, all about 5 by 5 feet. All about 5 feet by 5 feet. When you pull those panels away, you find the area under the house is just dirt. You can see where the stairs are, etc. But under the main level of my house is just dirt. I realized this when I had an exterminator come over to solve my pest problem. And he pulled off one of the panels to look and see if they came from behind the wall. Through one of those loose panels, I ran upstairs and grabbed a drill and blanket and a change of clothes. I also called into the shop and told the guy who was heading the shift he was going to have to run the day for the day. He was going to have to run the shop for the day, as I was going to be out sick. I carefully moved Tracy's top half into the trash bag and wrapped the rest of her in a bed sheet I had laying out with the rest of my dirty laundry, and moved her into the back hallway out of sight from any window. I took my cleaning supplies and spent hours scrubbing the carpet, the couch, myself, and anything else I felt could hold any evidence free of bodily fluid. First half. Sorry about it being so long, but this is the rest. Then took the drill and began unscrewing one of the panels in the closet. After I got it off, I used the flashlight on my phone to look around the space. It was moist and quite moldy, with animal feces scattered around. I didn't hesitate to start digging. I dug and dug and dug, and cried and cried and cried, and dug some more until I knew for sure she could fit in that horribly vile grave I desperately carved out for her. I put her in and piled and pattered the dirt until it looked almost as untouched as it had been before this nightmare. I went upstairs, collected all of my cleaning supplies and dirty clothes, and put them in another trash bag. That I'm gonna have to get rid of. I jumped in the shower, I got out, I ate breakfast, I went on a short walk to collect myself, but only got 5 houses down before feeling like I was going to vomit. I sprinted home, puked in my sink, and now I'm in the shower again. Things can't just go on as they did before. I fucking murdered somebody. I have been sitting on the floor of the shower sobbing for several hours now. The water is lukewarm and uncomfortable, but I can't get it out. I can't face what I've done. I still don't know what I'm going to do. I just need somebody out there to know this happened, and I've been a fan of this forum for a very, very long time. Please, try to understand that I didn't want to do this. I didn't want this to happen. I can't go to jail for this. It's not my fault. I'll be back later when I gather myself to keep you updated on what develops. If I'm not arrested and executed before I have the chance,